But see, every one of your members need to hear this. And some of them, if they hear it this way, they say, I'm still an Adam. You'll find out they've never truly been born again. But most will find out, I knew Christ was crucified for me, but this being crucified with Christ. But if they see that clearly, and all we're doing is illustrating the scriptures. Know you not, as for as many who are baptized into Jesus Christ, were baptized into his death, Romans 6:3. And a lot of them say, I never saw that before, and their life changed on the spot. God honors his word.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate the education.
Thank you for your time. I'd love to deal with pastors all over the country, but see, when you mention counseling, they don't want to hear anything about it. You mentioned discipleship, that's hard work. So how do you get an open nerve to be able to talk to them, you know?
And we would be able to get boxes of these pamphlets in our church?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just had 10,000 of these printed in Spanish and gave them out in Bogota.
Okay. Well, and actually, yeah, we might be interested in our church in both some English and some Spanish.
But see, this is a condensation of chapter 2 of that book. So,
right, okay.
Yeah. But then you haven't read chapter 5 yet?
No, sir. Not quite. No.
Well, this is chapter 2. She's starting out with chapter 5. It says, after intellectual understanding, then what? How does it become real in here? Like some of the process that people go through, where it becomes a reality.
Gotcha.
So when you're going to share with other people, you can see what to share with them, but they need to know, because most of the people that come in get worse before they get better. Unless they're worse enough to begin with.
Get worse in the sense that they're fighting what you're teaching them, or?
No, just they're hurting, and they schedule an appointment. If they're desperate, you share the answer. A lot of times find victory in the first interview, right? If they're looking up to see bottom, they don't need to go in lower. But if they're just uncomfortable, they've got to come to the end of themselves some way. And they may not be to the end of themselves. So as they understand, they make it worse and have more uptight and all before they finally find victory.
I see. So some folks might be receptive to it just because they believe the Bible is the truth and the answers are in the Bible, and so they may go, well, I'm not at the end of myself, but I'm looking for this book to provide direction. And you pointed out, and some folks just have to literally hit bottom before.
And then we draw a diagram here, you're down here. See, it's getting worse and worse. Most of us try to climb back up, which delays the process. But if they understand they can cooperate, they just turn loose and fall all the way to the bottom if they quit finding it. But if they get I got to get therapy, so they got therapists to help them, and the therapists help them get back up there. Now they got farther to go next time.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That makes sense.
If there is any way we can be helpful, as you study it, let me give you this.
Oops. Thank you, sir. All right, so read my handbook first and then read this as the sequel to the handbook.
Yeah, well, if you could read I'll give you another one.
Okay, and this is the expanded version of this?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, yeah, so this might be a sermon series I would preach then and hand these out as a part of this sermon
series. See, like you say, God's used us more than anything He's given to us in 45 years. But you have some people that are more present company, exclusively more story-minded. So some people more have good diagrams, turn them off, but stories don't.
Right.
So you have two ways to approach it. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, from the minister standpoint, I think this story version for folks who have already, if 95% of the people in the pews on Sunday morning have already been baptized, I think this story version might be a way I could make it hit home.
Yeah, see.
Okay, so there's the
same thing, different way.
Gotcha. Even a smaller version. Okay, yeah. So that's.
And this one Some years ago, Francis Schaeffer wrote a book, How Shall We Then Live? You ever see that?
No.
In the 60s, I think. And then later on, Chuck Colson came over, How Now Shall We Live? They both asked the wrong question, got the wrong answer. And the question is, through whom shall he live? Not how shall we live?
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a subtle, and I catch myself doing that all the time. That's a
But see, in a way though, brother, with all due respect to you and your lack of education, like I said, some pastor or pastors would be good, and you're good for nothing. But since you were indoctrinated in seminary, you're more receptive and to deal with it objectively, and that's refreshing.
Yeah, I mean, there's no theology that I base my thesis on that I have to defend now for the rest of my life.
But you take a person in Calvinism or in this, or they've just been taught that counseling, that's a specialty. You got people are fragile, you can't do that. You bought into that, and see, I'm serious because you don't have all that stuff. You can be more objective and open-minded just to see what does the Word say.
Show me the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Show me the truth. I'll know if it's true when you show it to me. And absolutely. Well, I certainly appreciate the conversation.
Well,
and the material.
I appreciate your time.